Have you given consideration? I read somewhere that you said if I fell behind badly, I'd get out. Are you thinking about when you would get out of this race?
Not even a thought. Not even 1% of a thought. Look, it's a phony deal that was perpetrated on the public. I was asked a simple question by Chuck Todd at Meet the Press, and I gave a very honorable and honest answer. I said, sure, if I was doing terribly, like some of these people, I wouldn't stay in. I mean, who would stay in? But I'm not. I'm leading every single poll. One poll came out yesterday, 30 or the other day. I'm at 35% nationally. 35%. I'm 20 points ahead of everybody else. Why would I get out? So they asked me a question, and instead of saying like these politicians, I watch these guys that are down at 0 and 1%, and they ask the same question: Would you think about getting? Oh, I'll never get out. I'll never get out. And you know they're going to be out in the next 2 weeks, okay? But they say that because that's
I understand where your take is on them, but you know because there's contraction.
I'm not getting out. I'm not going anywhere, Chris. I'm leading every poll. I'm leading every state. I'm not going anywhere, okay? I mean, I'll answer it a little bit differently. I gave a very honest answer. I said, look, if for some reason I had no chance and I collapsed, and they take that as saying, oh, maybe there's a little weakness in Trump in terms of the answer. There's no weakness. I'm not going anywhere. I'm leading every poll, and I'm gonna win, and I'm gonna make our country great again. That's what I'm not in this to have self-glorification. I've had plenty of that. I don't need that. I'm in it to make our country great again. And right now I'm leading. I'm winning. I'm winning by big numbers.
Right, but there is contraction.
By really big numbers.
There is contraction.
No I'm not getting out.
There is contraction, though. I'm not talking about you getting out. That was one question. The next question is...
It depends on what poll you look at. If you look at some of the polls that came out 2-3 days ago, I mean, the NBC poll, I was at 29. The OAN poll, I was at 35. That came out 2 days ago.
But there
is 35.
Right, but there is contraction. Your numbers are coming down a little bit. Others are moving up.
There was a 20-point lead.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's contraction in your mind, Chris, because everybody says, in the meantime, I'm
there's
still
contraction.
by 5, 6
there's contraction
in
math.
State.
It's math. It's not my mind. 29 to 24. That's math. That's not my mind.
Why aren't you quoting the polls where there's a 20-point lead?
I'm just showing the New Hampshire and the Iowa one. My question is that you hear people saying that you should get out or you have to change.
I don't hear that, Chris. I don't hear that. Well, he asked a question.
Well, you do hear Romney's guy went on and said, I think he's going to get out before Iowa.
Question, would you ever get out? I said, yeah, if I thought I wasn't going to win. I'm not a masochist. I told them that. I'm not a masochist if I thought I was going to win. And they end up saying, oh, Trump, look, he might. It's so disgusting. I'll tell you what, the media is so dishonest. It's so disgusting.
Well, I'm trying to ask you honest questions. Let me ask you about this.
I'm giving you an answer. Okay, let me make it a little bit different. I'm not getting out. I'm going to win, okay?
For a town hall, since the guy at the town hall said the president is a Muslim, that we have problems with the Muslims in this country, and we have to get them out. If something like that comes up again, would you handle it differently?
I don't think so, no. No, I don't think so. I don't know who the gentleman was, but he obviously disliked President Obama very much. I don't think I have to defend President Obama. He was very strong on his stance, and still I don't know who this guy was.
But some would say you're.
But I will tell you this:
he was.
Well,
you're defending.
Remember this. You're not saying I defended. I didn't respond. Yeah. Okay. It's the first time in my life I've caused controversy, but not responding. I thought I was very good. I didn't respond, and I ended up causing controversy. He said Muslims are a problem. Okay, that's what he said. Okay, are they a problem? You tell me. And I say, I don't see the people, and I use it often, that knocked down the World Trade Center going back to Sweden. Okay? So he said Muslims are a problem. That was part of what he said. Well, I mean, can you make the case that it's been tough? And by the way, most Muslims, I know many, are great people, just so you put it on the record.
So let's say, do you think Muslims are a problem?
Well, I think a certain segment are certainly a problem, and unless you want to be so politically correct where you want me to say, oh, absolutely not. I mean, you have ISIS, you have the migration, you have all of this stuff, you have, you know, a lot of people think you can end up with World War III over the Middle East. I've heard that for 25 years. There's something going on when you see beheadings. I mean, beheadings, we haven't seen that since medieval times, beheadings. You see dunkings, they call them dunkings, drownings, where they put people in a cage, dump them in the ocean. There's something going on. Yeah. So when he said Muslims are a problem, am I supposed to say, oh, look, again, you know, you probably won't put this part. I have great friendships with many people who are Muslim, living in this building, okay, living here. but I have great friends. They're phenomenal people. And most of them are like that.
Have they
but
asked
you
you about your
certainly
comments?
have.
What do you say to them?
By the way, they think we have a bigger problem than we do. Okay? They think we have a bigger problem because there's a radical Islamic group of people that is brutal. And unless our country gets tough and smart, and unless we have the right leadership done, we're in big trouble.
But, you know, it has been pointed out that politicians do have to think strategically, or people who are running to be the president of the United States. And he does have a problem at the moment with Hispanics. So what's his plan for that?
Well, the plan is to continue to move forward with his message. I mean, a big part of that problem, as you call it, is because a lot of the statements that he's made in the past has been pulled out of context by the media. But we are seeing that breakthrough. There are more and more people reaching out to the campaign,
Katrina, I'm sorry,
wanting clarification.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you there. Saying that they're sending their rapists, they're sending their criminals.
That's
Mexico,
not all he said.
He said, and I assume some
those
good
are
people.
Department of Homeland Security statistics of the criminal aliens who are in this country. These are the things that have occurred because we have an open border. And Hillary Clinton herself voted for the border fence, but no one even talks about that. This is a matter of national security, and Mr. Trump was just stating the number of reasons why we need a wall.
Well, as you know, it was perceived by many Mexicans and Hispanics as being insulting.
Thanks to the media.
Well,
because
no,
that's
this
the
was
only
his
part the
statement.
media
Katrina,
talks about. They only talk about
Katrina.
rapists. They only talk about those
These
things. They
were
never
his
talk about the
words.
sentences that followed those sentences.
Katrina, I don't know that that's fair. These were his words. Repeating back Mr. Trump's
Yes.
words are not the media skewing them. This was his opener. His opening salvo did offend Mexicans and Hispanics. So you're saying that the point now is what? That he doesn't feel that way? That he does feel that Mexico and immigrants coming here are made up of different demographics?
Changed. Nothing's changed at all. My point is it's skewed simply because the media only plays the first few sentences. They don't play the rest of the entirety of what he said, which is some are here, some are working, some are good people. But no one ever hears the second part of that message, and that is because the media doesn't want people to hear the second part of that message.
Paul Manafort, one of Mr. Trump's top advisors, does say that things are changing, and that they're changing with some of Mr. Trump's.
So, Matthew, a lot has been made in this campaign of the language that is used, the name-calling that's been used, especially in the primary. As an 11-year-old watching it, what's your reaction?
I really think that listening to a few bad words coming out of Donald Trump is a lot better than people getting blown up by terrorists, people getting burned alive, heads being chopped off, and people getting drowned.
The Pew Research says that there are, for immigrants on the whole,
Come on, try getting it out. Try getting it out.
I'll get it out.
I mean, I don't know if you're going to put this on television, but you don't even know what you're talking about. Try getting it out. Go ahead.
That America already is great, but we are great because we are good.
America's great. All right, so I want to ask you, what was it about Hillary Clinton's argument that resonated with you following Donald Trump's defense of the video?
She stated that America is already great, and I tend to agree with that. Though we are slow in progressing in a number of areas, we are progressing, and we need to continue the momentum.
Let me ask you about Lewandowski. Initially, your campaign said this never happened. There was no video of it. You came out and said you thought this person was perhaps making it up, this reporter. Lewandowski himself tweeted saying, I never met this reporter, I never touched this person. Now the video shows he clearly did touch this person.
Well,
whether or not you think it was battery or not.
Touch. I don't know what touch means.
Well, he said, I never touched this person.
And then she says, oh, look at my arm. I mean,
did he mislead you as well?
Not at all. No, not at all. Look, I didn't know we had all these security cameras all over. By the time I found out, I said, wow, this is really wonderful. This exonerates him totally. Now,
but
if it would have happened, she said she went to the ground or something to the effect that she almost went to the ground. She was in pain. She went to the ground. When she found out that there was a security camera and that they had her on tape, all of a sudden that story changed.
No, that's not true. She says her story has remained exactly the same. She was knocked a little bit off.
Can I read this to you then?
Yeah, that she was knocked off balance, but she remained standing.
Do you mind if I read you her statement? I mean, give me a break. You know, the problem is everybody dumps people when there's like a sign of political incorrectness. I'm just going to read, if I can find it.
She said she was almost knocked off balance, but
she said she was
standing.
almost knocked off balance, right? Here's what she said. You want to read it or you want me to do it? You're a professional announcer. Why don't you read it? The bottom part. The bottom. Now, that's an exact quote from her prior to seeing the cameras, and now she says, oh, I better change my story, I guess.
This quote says, I was jolted backwards. Someone had grabbed me tightly by the arm and yanked me down. I almost fell to the ground, but was able to maintain my balance nonetheless. I was shaken. Campaign managers aren't supposed to try to forcefully throw reporters to the ground. She did not go down the ground.
No, let me just, okay, before she knows, folks, look, I'm a loyal person. I'm going to be loyal to the country. I'm going to be loyal to Wisconsin. We have to tell it like it is. It would be so easy for me to terminate this man, ruin his life, ruin his family. He's got 4 beautiful children in New Hampshire, ruin his whole everything, and say you're fired, okay? I fired many people, especially in The Apprentice. But look what she says, Michelle Fields, who, by the way, she's not a baby, okay? In her own words, exactly, I was jolted backwards. Well, she wasn't. I mean, she's standing there. Someone had grabbed me tightly by the arm, and yanked me down. She wasn't yanked down. She was like, she didn't even have any expression. If somebody in this audience gets whacked or gets hurt, including me, you get hit a little bit, you go, wow, there's no emotion. Okay, wait a minute. I almost fell to the ground. She didn't almost fall to the ground. He got in her way. And by the way, she was grabbing me. Am I supposed to press charges against her? Oh, my arm is hurting.
You've suggested
Anderson, my arm is just killing me. It's never been the same.
You've suggested you might.
Excuse me. I didn't suggest.
Well, yeah, you did.
I tweeted. No, I tweeted. I asked
a tweet
the
is a
question.
suggestion.
Should I press charges?
Are you going to?
Sure. I don't know. Maybe I should, right? Because you know what? She was grabbing me.